lows of 45 for Wednesday morning, and I think midday highs are 65. And Thursdays, the same. Thursday afternoon is going to be good as well. A little clearer. We got some rain on Wednesday, but these cold fronts. You hear cold fronts, and one of the questions that I get a lot is, and it's a good question because I remember years ago thinking the same thing. When you hear the term cold front, what I find is that's the end of September, first week of October, then that's a situation where you can hunt the front of the front. But what you're going to find is you're going to have more deer movement behind the fronts than you are going to be hunting in front of those. So just kind of an educational tool there. Like I said, to some it may sound goofy, but to a lot it is if you stop and think about it. It is a valuable question. When I walked out this morning out of the house, it was like, it's deer season, you know. And I know, you know, down here in Kentucky, obviously it's like, why'd you move south if you don't like the heat? But I like the opportunity to be in the woods a little early. And there's a lot of other things that came with that. But I mean, it's now seeing at the end of September, it reminds me of getting ready and hunting that first couple weeks of October. So this storm front coming in, or this front coming in, that's going to drop these temperatures, is probably around the country. Without a reasonable doubt, I'd be willing to say that it's probably the best 2 or 3 days that September has had to offer. Has had to offer a lot of the around the Whitetail Range as far as days to be in the stand. So going in, using this as a stepping stone going into October. The reason that I was going to bring this to you guys is to focus on this one. If it's not too late to react to it, whether you can get off work in time or to get in the woods to take advantage of this over the next couple of days. If you can't, study and prepare yourself. Start searching for